What is going on, Alpha Hunters? It is very terrific Thursday. We did have Meta's earnings yesterday after the bell, and boy, oh boy, things were not that great. So it led to the market gapping down today. We had a nice gap down here today, down 1.25%. Kind of chopped sideways there for about the first hour, and then we've been on a nice little uptrend. Even say we pulled back for the first 30 minutes. We've been bullish since. Yeah. We are with 0.4% negative on the day currently. So, yeah, that's kind of how things look today. And we have the two bigger guys now due up. We have Alphabet and Microsoft. Probably Microsoft will be the bigger, way more impactful because they are the largest stock out there, so they will have probably the most to say, most important things to say. Take a look at the Qs. If you take a look at the Qs, they didn't really roll down there the first 30 minutes. They kind of had a little quick sell-off there the first 5, and they've been getting bought up throughout the day. People, I guess, taking the opportunity to buy it up. They did gap down 1.7%, but yeah, looking pretty good. Currently down about 0.5% on the day. IWM, you can see that they were bearish there the first 30 minutes, and a little bit more of a sideways consolidation here over the past couple of hours, I guess, since the first hour of the day. Okay. Nice move here, though, on the IWM back bullish. Down currently roughly 0.7%. DIA, negative. Pretty good gap down here. Also on the DIA, which typically doesn't gap all that much, but they did gap down 1.2%. Nice gap down, kind of like a little double bottom here at the lower end of the day, and then nice little run it's had over the past couple hours. RSP, a little bit more volatile. Okay, so we had a nice little sell-off here the first 30 minutes, and then a little bit more directional upswing there after that first 30 minutes. So nice move there. Currently down about 0.2%. All right, so we'll take a look then at the daily. RSP has a huge lower wick there because, yeah, it didn't have as much of a gap down as some of the others. RSP just got hit pretty quick there on the first 30 minutes. That looks kind of bullish. We'll have to definitely see how this thing ends tomorrow, or maybe even today if it starts to roll back down. But yeah, that looks, if it closed like that, that would look pretty bullish there on the RSP. As far as the DIA gapping down below the moving averages. Now it's going to come up and retest. Well, that doesn't look all that great. But, you are throwing a lower wick into the previous kind of zone where it bounced. So we'll probably not going to break down today, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, we got big catalyst today after the bell. IWM, pretty large gap down. Rejected off that 120 moving averages. Okay. Qs also kind of rejected off that retest. All right. Nice gap down, though. We don't really have a huge lower wick here. What's really tough about the Qs is we did gap down a pretty good amount, and all we did was we bought up to that 100 moving average. It's kind of a tough spot to try to go bullish right there. That is really tough. Because you might be getting people with that gap down, with that retest, might be going bearish right there. Okay, we'll have to see how that plays. SPY, also a nice little gap down here. Bouncing a little bit today, up to the moving averages, the 10 that's coming down. Yeah, we'll have to see how this plays. I could definitely make the case of, yeah, we're probably just going to keep rolling down, and yields will probably tell that story. But we got quite a bit of news. Obviously, Meta and GDP numbers and yields are all kind of doing things that are making the markets kind of shake right now. So I think the more lasting story to me is yields. Yields keep going higher. And we'll talk about that here in a sec. But VIX, nice little upper wick here on the VIX. Maybe we have a hangout day, or maybe we just explode higher tomorrow if Meta or not Meta, but Alphabet and Microsoft both have bad quarters or kind of lackluster. We'll just have to wait and see on that. DXY, okay. It did make a little bit of a lower low, but it didn't like drop off. So it might just consolidate here, or it might come down to these two highs here. So if it just kind of consolidates sideways here, it might wait for the 20 EMA to kind of come up, push it, support it, and push it higher. So we'll have to see on that. Gold, GLD, looking pretty good. Nice little base action here over the past couple days. And as the futures kind of looking at, yeah, futures don't look too bad. Nice little consolidation here the past couple days. And I like it. I mean, at least you're getting some consolidation. So if it starts to push higher, I mean, I would just expect gold to keep pushing higher. Nice little consolidation though. Yields. All right, let's talk about yields. So this morning, we got word that GDP growth rate, it came in at 1.6%. That was significantly, that's this number right here. That was significantly under. I'm not going to say significantly under because everybody has a different level of significance, but it came in at 1.6%. The forecast was calling for 2.5%. The prior quarter, obviously we know prior quarter Q4 was 3.4%. So, yeah, that's quite a bit different than what we thought the economy was going to do, or what the economy was perceived going to do at 2.5% of growth. We actually came in at 1.6%. So, that being said, I just wanted to real quick talk about growth or the GDP numbers. But the important thing is the yields. Yields aren't dropping off. I mean, if we take a look, when were yields bullish? Take a look at the 15-minute. Yields were bullish when the GDP number came out that we didn't grow as much. Yields should not have gone up. Yields, which initial probably reaction here, let me go to a 5-minute. Probably the initial reaction, it doesn't even show it. I would imagine was quickly down, and it looks like it just came right back up and just kept climbing. That is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. If you're not having economic growth, you should be the interest rates and yields should be dropping, and they're not doing that. That is a massive problem. What are the 30-year doing? What's the longer term? 30-year looks like it's still climbing. I mean, with the consolidation that we had earlier this week, yeah, they might continue to climb. This is probably going to wind up being the biggest problem. Then 2-year yields. 2-year yields are definitely performing the best across the curve today. Well, across the three I just looked at across the curve. But yeah, I mean, they're up 1.5% today. I mean, that looks pretty good. And if they continue higher tomorrow and into early parts of next week, I think if the market gives you strength, you're probably just looking to be bearish on it, because that is not a good sign. Honestly, that yields are going higher. We got lower U.S. GDP growth in Q1, and Meta. One of the things that I'll tell you, we'll talk about Meta just a little bit, but yeah, a lot of things just did not go well today. And definitely the dynamic between the U.S. GDP growth rate number for Q1 and the yields and how the yields reacted. This is a big deal. I mean, I don't know if you're going to see this in the news, probably not, because Meta and we're in the middle of earnings season, but this is a massive deal. So we'll see what it looks like tomorrow, but man, that is not good. 10-2 inversion. Yeah, pulling back a little bit. Okay. I mean, yeah, we know the 2-year is doing really well today, so it's just kind of hanging out. But they're all up, doing pretty good. HYG, yeah. So finally did fall from that retested level. People buying the dip on the gap down today, so there you go. I mean, it did reject off this level, but people did take the opportunity to at least be bullish on that gap down today on the HYG. Same thing on the LQD. It got pushed down. We'll see if it continues to get pushed down here over the next couple days. But it did take out that low. It did take out this low from April 16th last week. All right, so that's interesting. TLT should be breaking down. Yeah, TLT just might be on a run here, negative. Yeah, we've looked at that previously. It might last for a month. And think about the damage that'll be done to the market if yields continue to go higher and just continue to grind higher every day for like the next month. Like, oof, that'll be a disaster scenario for the market. So that's TLT. Let's take a look at some sector rotation stuff. So we know what happened yesterday after the bell. Meta had earnings. Obviously, they're down pretty good amount today. We'll take a look at that here after this. But XLC currently down 3.4% today. Yeah, huge weighting on the market. You can see how much it's just massively underperforming. And everything else is, trying to hold it up. We got materials at the high end, utilities, energies also up there, industrials. And all those are actually positive on the day. All those. Yeah, staples, healthcare, not healthcare, sorry, discretionaries, tech, healthcare, and then financials and real estate kind of in line with the market there for the day. But yeah, the man, that's a huge miss there for the communications area, XLC. But you can see that people have taken the opportunity to buy the dip. XLC after that gap down from Meta has. I'd be curious if there's a lot of people just rotating into maybe Alphabet because they probably got hit with a pretty good gap down because they're in the same sector, right, with Meta. So be curious to see which one of those two is kind of like leading the intraday, or people might be taking the opportunity to buy Meta on the dip. I wouldn't. I just don't trust Zuckerberg, and I think the earnings proved it. Tech also outperforming. Discretionaries also outperforming. So tech got sold off, or they had a pretty good gap down. People take the opportunity, buying them up during the day. Materials, industrials underperforming. Utilities, energies, real estate, and then the underperformers on the day or intraday: financials, healthcare, and staples. But not really doing too much here over the past couple of hours. All right, let's take a look at the old Meta. For a very interesting gap down, you can see that they definitely got bought up during the day. Yep, people took the opportunity to buy up both names, right? The two big heavyweights in the XLC, Meta and Alphabet or Google. But yeah, you can see that Meta, nice little gap down here. The thing that I would say is Meta might not be done because it didn't quite get down and retest this high that we had back on January 3rd, right before its previous earnings back then, or even feel that kind of gap down about the 400 level or just under 400 level. So yeah, it might float a little bit higher than just drop off, and I wouldn't doubt if that happened. Where are the long terms at? So it did gap below the 100 moving average. And that's about right here is where the 100 moving average was on a daily. So it did get above that and kind of retested almost into that 100 moving average on a daily, and kind of has continued to show strength throughout the day. I mean, people taking the opportunity to buy Meta. They still make a lot of money, but it's just they burn through a lot of cash, and that's kind of what it has. And I'll be pretty honest. They have kind of said the same thing for the past 3 quarters, but for whatever reason, this quarter, investors are like, "Why are y'all spending so much money on the metaverse?" It was they've reported that for the past 3-4 quarters while they've been on this absolute tear that they've been on, but yet now people seem to question it. Anyways, revenue came in a little bit positive. Earnings, they did beat by about 9%. Looks pretty good there. Let's take a look. I'm just kind of curious. So EPS did come down from last quarter. Also, revenue came down. And apparently their growth forecast for revenue was not the best either. So Anyways, let's quick take a look at Meta.